Hey everyone, how's it going? For today's video, I'm proud to present an up-close and personal, in-depth look with the all-new 2015 GMC Yukon Denali. This is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of the Denali. We'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, and go over the performance data, take it on a quick drive, and show you many of the unique aspects of both the interior as well as exterior. Before we begin, I'd like to extend a big thanks to Hendrick GM South Point, located in Durham, North Carolina, for providing the Yukon Denali featured in today's in-depth review. For more information on the dealership and current inventory, please feel free to check out their website provided in the description box below. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and start her up, let her run. As you can see, remote start does come standard on the Denali. The example we're taking a look at today is finished in onyx black and is paired with a premium perforated jet black leather interior. In order to start, all you have to do is just put your foot on the brake, keep the key fob within the interior, and then hit the dash mounted button to go. For 2015, the Yukon ditches hydraulic steering for a more efficient, speed-proportional, electrically assisted rack and pinion setup. The multifunction 4-spoke heated steering wheel is wrapped entirely out of premium leather with color accent cross-stitching versus the previous leather-wood combo. If you've ever driven the previous generation, you'll realize just how different the new Denali drives. It's obviously quite a large vehicle, but it surprisingly handles like a much smaller one. Like we experienced with the Escalade, the Denali's electric steering is appropriately weighted and responsive for the application. It's comfortable, easy to maneuver around the bends for its size, and even rides smoother thanks to the inclusion of magnetic ride control, but we'll talk more on that later. Reshaped aerodynamics lead to a quieter interior, further assisted by Bose active noise cancelling. As someone who has owned and driven a number of GM full-size SUVs in the past, the new lineup is without a doubt the most refined. The difference is pretty much night and day. When the 2015s first started rolling out, they were all equipped with GM's Hydromatic 6L80 6-speed automatic. Thanks to a recent mid-year update, all full-size SUVs and trucks that carry the 6.2-liter V8, including the Denali and Escalade, are now fitted with an updated 8L90 8-speed automatic. The compact gearbox is similar in size compared to the 6-speed, but features a wider gear ratio spread, 2 additional overdrive gears, and a shorter first gear to aid in initial acceleration, respectively. The other big benefits include the taller rear differential ratios you get, which help lower engine speed on the highways for marginally improved economy. It's still routed through a traditional column shifter, which frees up the center console for more storage space. Manual shifting is routed through the leather-clad column in addition to a tow-haul mode, which raises the shift points. The transmission does its job well, delivering smooth power in transitions. You don't notice much engine noise as everything is insulated up quite a bit. As with the new 5.3 in the Tahoe and standard Yukon, the 6.2 seems quieter than before, losing a bit of its muscular growl unless pushed a little harder, subsequently creating, well, a quieter vehicle. I haven't driven the 2015 Denali with the 6-speed, but at least comparing it to its predecessor, the new offering feels much snappier than before thanks to an increase in engine torque, making it much more eager to get up and go, accompanied by subtle V8 burble. The manual shifting is responsive enough to use when towing in on steep grades, but it doesn't really add an extra dimension of performance as gear changes don't seem to occur any quicker. So let's go ahead and flip on the xenon projector headlamps, fog lamps, and hazards. All 4 windows are automatic down, but the front 2 windows are automatic up as well, with laminated glass for improved noise isolation. So let's go ahead and check out the exterior. Upon closing the door, the vehicle will sound the horn a few times to let you know it's lost detection of the proximity key fob. The GMC Yukon Denali was initially launched back in 1999 to compete in the rapidly growing luxury SUV segment. Alongside the Cadillac Escalade, they were GM's answers to the highly successful Lincoln Navigator that was launched for 1998. Based heavily on the Chevrolet Tahoe, the Denali didn't really differentiate itself much from its lesser brethren. Upgrades included more premium leather upholstery, genuine wood trim, and standard Bose audio, not to mention somewhat softer, more refined exterior styling. Looking back, it's no surprise that the first generation SUVs were only produced for 2 years, as the rapidly aging platforms gave way to far more modern designs shortly thereafter. If you've been following the automotive industry in recent time, a lot has changed, especially in the last 15 years. Once again, alongside the Escalade, GM is launching an all-new 4th generation Denali for 2015, a vehicle that truly distinguishes itself in the lineup, offering near Cadillac luxury without the Cadillac price. Vast improvements in quality and comfort take the badge to new heights. That being said, I believe the Denali is the sweet spot of the three, blending the best of a Tahoe LTZ and an Escalade. So let's run through a summary of changes. The new Denali, like its corporate stablemates, is built using traditional body-on-frame construction. The powertrain is bolted to a fully boxed frame composed of more than 75% high-strength steel. The benefit is having the ability to tow upwards of 8,300 pounds and haul a payload of just over 1,500 pounds, depending on the wheelbase and drivetrain. The lineup consisted of the standard wheelbase and extended wheelbase XL. As you're well aware of by now, Denali represents GMC's luxury trim, offering a unique vehicle that separates itself from the standard Yukon SLE and SLT in a number of key areas, including, but not limited to, styling, performance, and interior features. For those needing extra cargo capacity, the XL benefits from an additional 14 inches of wheelbase and a 20-inch increase in overall length. We'll talk about cargo space later in the video. It's a slightly larger vehicle than before, with an increase in 1.4 inches in length and 1.5 inches in width. It's also about 100 pounds heavier. Interior space improves a good bit, and the rear doors feature a wider opening for easier ingress and egress. A whole host of chassis and suspension improvements create one of the smoothest riding, easier handling Denalis to date. For starters, it has a larger footprint thanks to a rear track that benefits from nearly 2 inches of additional width. All wheels are half an inch wider than before for reduced tire flex and improved cornering performance. GMC claims the Denali steering is more precise, partially due to a new cross-axis ball joint on the frame side of the rear suspension lateral link. Shear-style body mounts reduce the typical chassis shutter common to body-on-frame vehicles, enhancing stiffness, damper performance, and the feeling of solidity over bumps and rough pavement. The biggest advancement in ride quality, though, is standard magnetic ride control, which is optional in the standard Yukon. Featuring a new dual electric coil design, it allows for near instantaneous shock adaptation for varying road conditions to maintain a steady ride. The Denali is available in either 2-wheel drive or multi-mode 4-wheel drive with a 2-speed transfer case. A new 9.5-inch rear axle is standard, along with an automatic locking rear differential, the latter of which yields improved traction in slippery conditions. Styling is one of the Denali's biggest departures over its predecessor. It's far more refined and well thought out, displaying unique cues that create a bold and distinct package with arguably the best looking front end and overall package in the GM full-size trio. The sculpted sheet metal is exciting and more mature than before. There's more body creases and curves to create the level of eye candy that you wouldn't typically associate with something in this class. Helping decrease weight is an aluminum hood and liftgate. Overall, the front end displays a greater level of dynamism and luxury, highlighted by the signature Denali chrome mesh grille. All Yukons carry new projector beam, LED accented headlamps that rake back into the fenders. Denalis feature exclusive high-intensity discharge headlamps. Across the sides, chrome accented running boards are standard, with power retractable units being available. Aiding towards a quieter ride are new inlaid triple-sealed doors. Also seen with the Tahoe and Escalade, they fit into the body rather than rolling over the top, which really decreases wind noise for a quieter interior, not to mention improved aerodynamics and decreased drag. Out back, a power liftgate with foot sensor allows hands-free operation for opening and closing. LED tail lamps provide modern illumination out back. The roof spoiler now incorporates the rear wiper blade, so it's nice and hidden and creates an uninterrupted flow across the rear glass. The Denali comes with your choice of 2 standard 20x9-inch aluminum alloy wheel sets. However, you can also opt for one of 6 different 22x9.5-inch alloy wheels, including the 6-spoke polish units equipped on this tester, wrapped in 285/45 all-season tires. Road testing shows the Denali can hold around 0.77 g of lateral acceleration. Now felt liners also wrap the wheel wells, helping absorb road noise. The Denali stops from 60 miles an hour in about 130 feet thanks to four-wheel internally ventilated disc brakes, measuring 13 by 1.2 inches in front and 13.6 by 0.8 inches in the rear. They're clamped by two-piston and single-piston sliding calipers respectively. The Duralife rotors are designed to resist premature rust and eliminate steering shudder under hard braking thanks to a new process called ferritic nitrocarburizing, which hardens the rotor surface. As far as the suspension, in addition to the self-adjusting magnetorological shock absorbers, you also have independent double wishbones in front with a traditional solid axle 5-link setup in the rear. Revised components help improve ride quality in addition to front and rear hollow stabilizer bars. Overall length is 203.9 inches with a width of 80.5 inches and a height of 74.4 inches, riding on a 116-inch wheelbase. Total curb weight is between 5,594 and 5,840 pounds between two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive respectively. The Denali continues with a standard 6.2-liter V8, but it's an all-new mill, part of GM's latest Ecotec 3 engine family. The engine receives a good bump in power compared to last year, but it's also more fuel efficient thanks to the incorporation of direct injection, cylinder deactivation, and variable valve timing. These bits of tech are becoming more and more common nowadays for larger displacement engines. In the Denali's case, they boost economy ratings by 17% compared to the previous model, especially through cylinder deactivation, which allows the engine to run on 4 cylinders when full power isn't needed. Even with all this new tech, the V8 keeps the traditional overhead valve pushrod design with 2 valves per cylinder. Compression ratio is rated at 11.5 to 1 with a maximum engine speed of 6,000 RPM. It develops 420 horsepower at 5,600 RPM and 460 pound-feet of torque at 4,100 RPM, representing an increase of 17 horsepower and 43 pound-feet of torque, and yielding a 0 to 60 time in just under 6 seconds. As far as fuel economy, the short wheelbase Denali carries a 26-gallon tank, while the XL features a larger 31-gallon tank. Premium fuel is recommended but not required. Capless fuel filler systems are standard. Two-wheel drive models are estimated to have a range between 15 miles to a gallon in the city and 21 on the highway. Four-wheel drive models are about a mile less in both ratings. If there was one big area the previous generation really needed to work on, it would have been interior quality, fit, and finish. The Denali is just one example of how far these vehicles have come in a relatively short amount of time. I for one have been extremely impressed by the liberal implementation of soft touch elements, ergonomic improvements, and greater comfort offered to the first and second row passengers. Unlike the Escalade, which kind of moves into a league of its own now, the Yukon bears a lot of resemblance to the Tahoe. There's a ton of available storage inside the doors, the flanks of the center console, and all of your vital controls are within easy reach. The overall seating style and the adjustments that they offer doesn't really differ between the three. Obviously, the Denali features higher grade materials than a regular Yukon or let alone a Tahoe, and it has that double accent French stitching and all that, so it's a little bit fancier. With the built-in running boards, step-up height really isn't too bad, and once you climb in, you have easy seat controls off to the left. There's 4-way power lumbar and good general comfort all the way around. There's nice bolstering at top and down below, good lower back support, and plenty of soft cushion. I just love the detailing of the seats, the way the rib pattern comes across the middle, and the accents across the bolsters. Very pretty overall. The driver's seat features a built-in safety alert system that sends vibrations through the bottom cushion. It can vibrate to the left, right, or both sides depending on the direction of the alert from the various safety systems such as forward collision alert, lane departure warning, lane change assist, rear cross traffic alert, and adaptive cruise. In addition to front seat center airbags and knee airbags for better protection, there's also a host of new anti-theft technology making the vehicle a bit more secure. The four-wheel drive and trailer brake controls to the left, a full power tilt telescope and heated steering wheel, and a sunroof is standard. To truly set it apart from a Yukon SLT, the Denali features a number of unique interior elements that create a more premium environment. For starters, replacing all the standard silver painted trim is genuine burnished aluminum, with additional bits added to the door handles and center console to tie in the dash and steering wheel trim. Genuine Java poplar veneers replace the faux wood grains, while contrasting French seam stitching and premium perforated leather make it look and feel more luxurious. Even other areas such as the center console is wrapped in the higher grade leather. Speaking of the center console, the Denali's cup holders and front storage cubby are covered for a cleaner look. Finally, the Denali's receive a unique instrument cluster that combines analog gauges with an 8-inch reconfigurable display, similar in concept to the Buick Regal GS I recently reviewed. Standard Yukons get a more traditional analog setup that's somewhat reminiscent to the one found in the new Tahoe, of course custom tailored for GMC. So let's go ahead and see how she sounds. So let's go ahead and shut her up. Good solid feeling panels. So the Denali features the same audio system that you find in the Cadillac Escalade, a higher spec Bose Centerpoint surround sound system, but in this case it's routed through the 8-inch GMC IntelliLink system instead of the obvious Q interface. Now the difference between the Cadillac Q system and this one is this one more so relates to the Chevrolet MyLink interface in that it incorporates the 8-inch touchscreen in the middle there as well as the analog buttons beneath it, where the Q system is all digital, it's all touchscreen all the way down the center console. I actually prefer this a little bit better, especially for those who may have a bit of a handicap, so to speak, when it comes to technology. It's very easy to use, so there's no real guesswork. You'll pick up on it pretty quickly. Your side curtain airbags, hands-free Bluetooth microphones on either side so both the driver and passenger can be heard equally, as well as a microphone for the Bose Audio Pilot noise cancellation system. Padded visors with LED illuminated vanity mirrors. There's a standard auto-dimming rearview mirror with 3-position garage homelink, and in the top stack you have your LED reading lamps, some sunglass storage, controls for your sunroof, as well as 3-position garage homelink. Continuing down the center console, there's a tri-zone climate control system, so independent adjustments for the driver, passenger, and the rear passengers. The rear climate control is located down below here. Obviously, the upper one up here corresponds to the front zones. Temperature on either side, one-touch automatic, different zones, fan speed, and front and rear defrost. The Denali also features standard heated and ventilated front seats and heated middle row seats. In the middle, flip open the little consoles and you have 2 cup holders and a little bit of storage with a 12-volt power outlet and 2 USB ports. The entire center console, including these cubby doors, are lined in soft touch material for a more premium feel. In the middle there's a large center console, leather wrapped with double accent stitching, not to mention a wireless phone charging tray for compatible smartphones. It opens up into a nice amount of cargo space, a little bit of storage up top, a 12-volt power outlet. To the right you have 2 additional USB ports, an auxiliary input, and SD card slot for your media inputs. To either side of the center console there's a storage tray. As far as the steering wheel, on the right hand side you have the controls for the driver information system like I showed you earlier, your hands-free telephone and voice commands. Off to the left hand side you have your heated steering wheel, pre-collision detection system, and cruise control. Your wipers, high beams, and turn signals are all bundled into one stalk in addition to the rear wiper. In addition to the intermittent features, the Denali also has an automatic rain sensing feature that you can turn on and off. Alrighty. Go ahead and shut her down. And we'll check out the back seat. What's going on, guys? So obviously if you've seen my in-depth review on the 2015 Cadillac Escalade and Chevrolet Tahoe, you're pretty much going to recognize this interior back here is almost identical, so I'm going to refer to some of that for some of the angles and shots and whatnot. But obviously the Denali, compared to a Chevrolet Tahoe or even the regular Yukon, it's a little bit nicer appointed. I like the white accent double stitching coming across the seats. The perforated detailing is quite nice. And overall, I mean, the features and functionality and the overall comfort, that doesn't really differ between the vehicles at all. I do think the leather is a little bit higher grade versus the regular Yukon like we talked about earlier, but that's really the biggest difference that I can tell. There's a lot of headroom back here. I'm 5'10" and I probably have, let's say 4.5, 5 inches, and leg space with a comfortable seating position for myself in front, probably about 4.5 or so inches of leg space. Overall comfort, like I said, is pretty good. I like the addition of the armrest right here. There's good padding down below and up top. It kind of feels like a cushy armchair, I guess. I like how airy and open the environment is back here. I mean, you have the captain's chairs in the middle in this model, so you can easily walk up back and forth between the seats if you like. There's LED reading lamps everywhere. There's a Bluetooth microphone back here so the rear passengers can be heard, and there's plenty of ventilation. There's 2 ceiling mounted vents back there and 2 up here, so everybody basically has a dedicated vent pointing right at your face. And On these like 90-degree North Carolina days, I wish I had this vehicle running right now because it is boiling out here. Like we talked about earlier, rear seat passengers have an easier time climbing into the back due to the wider door openings. The seat comfort is also further aided by reclining seats, so you can kind of kick back and relax if you're taking a longer trip. Another nice thing about both the Escalade and the Denali is the power fold and tumble seats. It's not both ways, they just fold and tumble, you actually have to manually set it back up right, but it allows easier ingress and egress to the rear seat, which is still somewhat cramped but a lot more accommodating than earlier versions of the vehicles. You also have illumination back there and plenty of vents like I talked about earlier, in addition to storage and cup holders. The power fold and tumble can be done from both sides, so obviously you can access the back seat from both sides, but it also works to add extra storage space, which we'll talk about next. Headroom, like I said, is pretty decent. The rate limiting factor really is leg space. Other than that, there's plenty of storage in the door panels, there's seat back pockets, grip handles, and coat hooks up top, not to mention the B-pillar handles for a little bit of easier ingress and egress. So, let's go and check out the rest of the vehicle. Out back, like the Escalade, the Denali features a hands-free operating liftgate. It works via proximity sensors, so by simply walking up to it and kicking your foot underneath while having the key fob on you, you're able to not only open it but close it as well. You're still able to use the key fob in addition to a black button on the liftgate to close it. If needed, you can raise the rear glass for added cargo clearance. As far as cargo space, behind the third row, space actually decreases a little bit this year due to the new raised floor, which was done to create fold-flat seating. Thankfully, there is a bit of extra cargo space underneath that floorboard. In the standard length Denali, behind the third row, there's 15.2 cubic feet of storage. Fold down the third and second row seating for a completely flat loading space. Behind the second row, you now have 51.5 cubic feet, then it jumps to 94.2 cubic feet in total. With the XL, space increases to a substantial 39.3 cubic feet behind the third row, 76.7 cubic feet behind the second row, and a total of 120.9 cubic feet with all of the seats folded down. The passenger seat also features the same power adjustments that you find on the driver's seat, including the 4-way power lumbar. Down below you have a locking glove box and a modest amount of space. Ever since the Denali's 1999 debut, it's been one of the cornerstones of full-size American luxury. With the capabilities of a full-size truck, it still offers quite an advantage when it comes to its towing and hauling abilities. General Motors did a stand-up job with the all-new SUVs, once again redefining the segment. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the all-new 2015 GMC Yukon Denali. Be sure to stay tuned next time, there's a lot more where that came from. Take care everybody.